So for this presentation we were asked to research effective communication, and before I want to read just the question that we were asked, just so everyone's in the right frame of mind for the presentation. So, research business communication, find out what skills employees are using in the workplace, what types of writing and speaking are business people doing. So I thought it would be good to begin by just seeing why effective communication is so important, and maybe some of the types of communication before we dive into answering the question. So effective communication, why is it so important? Effective communication underpins the success of all business activities and is seen as vital in enabling a company to foster excellent employee relations, both within the business and also with its clients externally. So, types of communication, I've just categorized them into three sort of levels. So, oral communication, written communication, and technology, but oral and written kind of can fall into technology as well, as you will see. So can anyone maybe suggest a method of oral communication that we would have talked about?
Maybe face-to-face.
Face-to-face, anyone else?
Public speaking.
Public speaking.
Lead conference.
Yep, definitely. Anyone else? That's great. I've just listed a few here. So meetings and group discussions, they're obviously going to be very important. Phone calls, one-on-one conversation, and presentations like what I'm doing now. Then here's just a few examples of written communication: emails, reports, memos, letters, and policies. And technology, which kind of can fall under the both: video conferencing, telecom, voicemail, fax, word processing, but also Skype is something that's really coming into effect now within a lot of different businesses. So we talked last day in class about some barriers. Can anyone remember any of those barriers to communication? I'm going to give you a clue. So jargon was one. Just I hate glance at these, this looks confusing. You can see when things are all bunched up together, it can act as a barrier as well. Presentation. So you can just have a quick glance over a few of the barriers. And as we addressed in the question at the beginning, skills are really the key to effective communication, and we're going to address some of those skills in an attempt to combat any communication barriers which may or may not come into effect within a business. So I actually, being from Ireland, it's quite difficult to relate to some of this stuff because it's just all really different. But I thought it would be really good to actually look at a company, and this company is called Almac. It's a contract research organisation, and it's actually based in the UK and headquartered in my hometown. But the company employs approximately 3,300 employees in the UK and in the USA, so I thought it was a nice sort of company to base my presentation on because I can relate to it, but also you can relate to it as well. So Almac actually provided guidelines to its employees with regards to skills and communication skills which are which are really required for being part of the business. So I think it's good to always bring the theory into practice and to bring the theory that we learn into everyday life, and these are the things that Almac are doing every day and really empowering their employees to do every day. So communication must be regular, constant and timely. And questioning skills are very important, and Almac really emphasise that. Effective questioning and direct questioning. We found out the last day in class that questions and some pieces of information when passed along a long chain of people can really get lost, so it's so important to be to the point and direct. And processing and tailoring information to different audiences, what's appropriate, who are we engaging, what is our objective. Providing and receiving feedback to improve business activities. So that comes under listening skills. You have to be open-minded and willing to take on board so that you can improve and become the best employee that you can possibly be. Public speaking, that's a skill that all of us are attempting to work on today. Oral presentation skills, so articulation's important. A clear outline where you're going, your start, your middle and your end, and your organisation and presentation aids if required. Group skills, another very important thing. If you're going to be working in a team in a business, group skills are essential. You have to be willing to listen to others and not to interrupt, and to know when it's your time to speak. So, writing skills, it's another really good one. Punctuation and grammar. Industry terminology, you need to know what these people are talking about, otherwise they're going to be on a different level. Being formal when and where possible and appropriate, and using, again, direct language. Okay, so these are things that ALMAC are doing.
Stop.
Okay, that's just, I just skipped to my conclusion.
Well, that was 6 minutes already.
Sorry. Okay, well that's just my conclusion, that skills are the tools.
Okay. Thank you. Next, y'all gotta jump up, Dylan.
Okay.
Oh, we were gonna save you for last. Okay. Kevin then. Make your notes, please. Oh, okay.
Is that good? Okay. I just labeled mine business communications. And the way I did it is I just looked up the top skills that employers found to be useful from 2012 and 2013. From 2012, I found that the top wanted skills were like using conceptual models, just using like diagrams and charts to effectively get your information across so people aren't confused. Another one was just communicating those details and concepts to make sure like when you are using your models that everybody understands it before you move on. Another one that people were like, was a top asset was curiosity, is like not just being happy with what you're already doing, but trying to like better yourself and like be able to get your point across more effectively. The next one pretty much goes along with this. It's just decomposing the abstract into details. Simply just like if you have a big idea, breaking it down into smaller ones so people can understand it easy. And the last, or one of the next ones is mentoring and coaching. Just if you're like at the senior level and you have people like below you, make sure those people can like just give them tips to help them so they can like progress and maybe one day do what you're doing. The next one is communicating risks. That's simply just, let's see, what is that? It's like if you have like a big issue at your company that you're afraid might cause issues, just make sure you go from the top down and let those below you know that if you do have a problem, make sure you work it out before you go on. Leveraging the parking lot, that's simply making sure you have time for your presentation. Don't put stuff off at the last minute, or if you are in the middle of one and you're in a hurry to get somewhere, make sure you take your time and effectively like communicate everything you want instead of trying to rush out of there. The next one is change management. That is, say if like you do have a shift in management, make sure that they know exactly what you want and nobody's lost. The next one is asking why. That's an important one because you should never settle. You should always know what you can do to better yourself and like why you're actually doing what you're doing. And the last one is just impromptu whiteboard drawing. That's just saying you're comfortable enough with your material that you can get up like on a board and like draw it out if you have to explain it. For 2013, since we're becoming more technologically inclined, one of the first ones was immerse yourself in mobile. Just saying like you can put your stuff on the internet and make it available to everybody. Next one's be an active listener. That's like if you're in a presentation, you can multitask and take notes. The next one's a little off, but what I found was invite a blogger out for coffee. It's just like get somebody who has a blog and share your ideas with them so they can put it on the internet for more people to see. And the next one goes along with that is share your experiences. People can learn from you, and that's an important aspect. The next one is attend a journalism conference. All these basically go along with the same idea. It's just getting yourself out there so you can learn more. And same with take a class. If it's like at a university or just like a small lecture. Get involved with an industry provider. If you work for a company, that's like say if you're at the lower level, just make sure you go to like the top of the chain so you can know exactly what they want. Subscribe to an industry newsletter. I know like a lot of companies, they send out newsletters, but most people don't read them. This is saying if you take the time to read that, it can really help you become more efficient in communicating. Refine your pitch. Just like when you're speaking, make sure you get all your ideas across is what the employers are looking for. Don't just get up here and rush and make like, if you accidentally skip something, that's important. Give before you ask. That's saying just do more than you're expected to do, and like don't like give a presentation and just give the bare minimum. And commit to commenting. That's kind of like what we're doing. Commenting can really help somebody. Like some people, they aren't aware of what they're doing wrong, so if you make a comment, it can help them in the future. And the last part, it was asking what kind of writing, speaking, and expectations we have from the class. For the writing, we talked about like one of the first days of class. You want the writing to be short, concise, and straightforward so you don't lose the reader. For the speaking, it's pretty much the same, just you want to get their attention and be straightforward and not drag it on. And my expectations for the class is just learn how to be effective in these areas. And there's my sources for that.